One shall stand, and one shall fall.
So the trailer for Transformers 1 came out, which is a prequel that takes place on Cybertron. I really like the premise for this. The lore established by Transformers Prime and Fall of Cybertron is pretty cool, but they don't follow that continuity, at least not to the degree they should have. I'm going to go over the trailer in the second half of the video, but for the first half, I'm going to explain Transformers Prime lore to you guys. That way you can see why I feel the way I do and why Transformers 1 could definitely have been better. I was actually going to make a video on why we need something like a Megatron solo movie, and then this came out, and I really had to talk about it. I apologize if I'm not very animated in this video, but unless I'm going on a tangent, I'm just reading notes. So Transformers Prime sets up Megatron as a gladiator, and his name is Megatronus. Megatron named himself after one of the original 13 Primes. If I were to make the movie, I'd have Megatron as the starting protagonist, and then you get to see him as a gladiator. This would result in some pretty cool visuals and show that Megatron is good at combat. And then we have Orion Pax, who becomes Optimus Prime. At this point, he's a librarian in the Hall of Records, and he gets to see Cybertron's corruption firsthand. So at this point, Megatron's amassed a large following of true believers in his cause. He wants everybody to be treated as equals. Orion Pax learns about his cause, and Megatron starts mentoring him. I like the parallel that Megatronus is the name of one of the original Primes, where Optimus is set to become the last of the Primes. At this point, they basically become brothers.
We were brothers once.
And they want to make Cybertron a better place. Megatronus changes his name to Megatron and goes before the High Council. His vision for peace is to overthrow the current dogma and become the next Prime. Obviously, the people in power don't like his suggestion, so when Orion Pax offers a more peaceful outcome, the Council obviously agrees with him. And you can really see why Megatron's mad. His entire life has been suffering, and then they just give it to, a librarian. It's at this point where Megatron creates the Decepticons, and he strikes out against what he sees as injustice. And this creates like a global civil war, where the Autobots and Decepticons are these very tribal people who just engage in conflict. Like the Decepticon Bruticus calls the Autobots Autobugs and likes crunching them beneath his feet. At the end of the day, they're all Cybertronians, but the two factions hate one another. The Decepticons are seen as these really evil people who just kind of blow stuff up, and obviously people are going to rebel against them. The Decepticons think that the Autobots want to preserve the status quo. They don't want their planet to fall, they just can't share it with one another. So war ends up poisoning Cybertron. Primus turns Orion Pax into Optimus Prime with the Matrix of Leadership. So Optimus and Megatron fight each other, and the Cybertron prequel arc kind of ends with the games made by High Moon Studios, with the actual fall of Cybertron. So what I summarized was from Transformers Prime, the end of Season 1, Ratchet explains the old Cybertron lore. You can check that video out, it'll be linked in the description below. Transformers Prime is a show made for kids. I watched it before I went to school. It's not that people want a Transformers movie for adults, it's that they don't want slop to be fed to impressionable audiences. Like Transformers Prime is a show for kids, but anybody can appreciate it. And again, if you have such a good established universe, why would you not follow that continuity, or at least change it up to make it better? The theme of Transformers is they're more than meets the eye. This is the perfect slogan for a franchise because you can like it for the cool robots that can transform into vehicles, or you can appreciate the complexity of what you're watching. It seems like with this movie they tried to shallow the water for people who might have heard about Transformers but don't really know about it. That doesn't make any sense. I like when people are interested in the same hobbies I am and the same franchises, but why would you make it shallow? If you make the water shallow, there's no water left to enjoy. People don't make pools for people who can't swim. If people can't handle the peak of a franchise, you shouldn't introduce them to its lowest. I'm actually going to get into the trailer now. I actually do like what they did with the voices. Having someone else besides Peter Cullen voice him as Orion Pax is a really good idea, and then he turns into Peter Cullen when he becomes Optimus. If I were to make a movie like this, I would do the exact same thing with the voices, so that's cool. We get introduced to Bumblebee, and this is a really unfunny Reddit joke.
I'm B127. I'm actually working on some nicknames. The one I'm floating right now is Badassatron, which is actually pronounced Badassatron.
We're gonna call you B.
And I say Reddit because a lot of Redditors are vapid consumers who are just blatantly unfunny. Like, this is MCU slop humor. This is not for kids.
You beat me by 1 second.
The director said that the trailer is lighthearted and there's a lot of jokes in there, which isn't really reflective of the true movie. But none of the jokes are funny, none of them land. I don't understand why every single movie nowadays is just Guardians of the Galaxy. The continuity they chose to follow is the one where Megatron mines for resources. It's like the people who made this movie don't have any internal monologue. How could you possibly see this as cooler than the Gladiator arc? And if you want to say, oh, it's like the comics, it's like, yeah, but Transformers Prime is cooler.
That's the spirit. But I was a champion of the pits of Chaos not only due to my savage might, but also my cunning.
Anyway, the next thing that happens is this MacGuffin Hollywood storytelling. Oh, here's your plot, superpowers. This is so stupid. And why would they show this in the trailer? Now look, stuff like the Matrix of Leadership, that's a MacGuffin, sure. But the way that Transformers 1 presents this is so bad. People always call people professional writers, and that is so annoying. We're all people, we're all equals. That's just something that someone came up with. You could do the exact same, probably better. People probably came up with better storylines playing with their action figures as kids than whatever this is. It's like nobody gets mad that people are just getting paid to make slop, actual slop, because they're being allocated hundreds of millions of dollars in some cases to make something that comes out of a pig pen. And then people who work like 9-to-5 jobs will be like, oh, this looks fun, this looks cool. No, it doesn't, which is my entire argument. That this could have been so much cooler. And the way they use the song Start Me Up is like they're shooting Walmart melatonin through the screen directly into your eyes. And then when Optimus goes, we're more than meets the eye. I actually laughed out loud at that part, that's really bad. And we can transform now. Like, yeah, we can do the thing that the series is known for, and people who don't know about the series, they know about. Anyway, about the actual vehicles, I saw a lot of people criticize it, and the Cybertron vehicles do look like this. Bumblebee looks exactly correct, and Optimus later on looks like the trucks in Cybertron, Fall of Cybertron, so it's not bad. Like, a lot of people are like, well, why do they turn into human vehicles? Well, it's kind of like, well, why do aliens have guns? It's like, well, you kind of just have to assume, like, advanced species have this, so it's whatever. Then they say, like, we have these powers for a reason. Like, what does that even mean? Like, what is this slop Hollywood stuff? The rest of it just like a bunch of jokes that are not funny unless you're a mom, or have a bunch of Funko Pops. Basically, my point with all the jokes is like, I don't really care if there's bad jokes if the movie's good. Like, if you have someone who comes in and just adds bad jokes to a good movie, like whatever. But good movies and bad movies mostly cost the same. For instance, the animation's really good, right? A very good animation. What if they were to use that budget onto the Transformers Prime storyline? It would be a way better movie. Be much more lucrative, you'd sell more action figures. Like, I just don't understand why they would purposely retcon good continuity. What is even the reason for that? But yeah, my point is, like, with the animation quality, what if they just animated Transformers Prime stuff? You know, it would cost the same. But it's like, they're just like, no, we're minting out today. We're not doing that. And the thing about Megatron being D-16, not Megatronus, I actually am fine with that. Megatronus kind of sounds stupid if you think about it. And he is D-16 in some continuity, so that's fine. The other thing I wanted to talk about is insane conclusions. Like, that's not how writing works. Characters don't just spontaneously change, unless that's something that you've proven that they can do. So for instance, Megatron, you can obviously see the path he's walking in Transformers Prime. He's gonna become Megatron. Having him be this upbeat character who at the end of the movie he becomes evil, to like the untrained eye, it's like, well, that's really good writing. Like, look, they took him from here to here, but it's like, that's not how progression works. Optimus Prime is always a deep and very stoic character. So is Orion Pax. I mean, they're the same character, so I don't know why he's upbeat. He reverts back to Orion Pax at the beginning of Season 2 of Transformers Prime. It portrays Orion Pax as a very meek character, so you can see the progression from Orion Pax to Optimus. And then he can hack into heavily encrypted Decepticon files.
Google, show me this guy's balls, please.
Orion Pax is sort of like Captain America. He has an innate nobility about him, but he himself is not exactly a fighter. So Primus gives him the powers of the previous Primes, putting him at a combat level of Megatron, except Optimus tries to do what is morally right, where Megatron doesn't. I think that what I suggested is better than Transformers 1 and Michael Bay's movies. If you have creative control over a media, why would you not try to make the best possible continuity? Like, even Transformers Prime can be improved upon. But yeah, in conclusion, I think that Optimus needs no introduction, but Megatron is someone they really should have tried to make the best possible version with. Showing Transformers Prime Megatron to a broader audience would have been their best move, but they didn't really do that, so whatever. I say whatever because it's not really my creation, I just am a fan of it, and I would like to see it do the best. Hey guys, the video is already long enough as it is. This is after I already made the video and I had to come back with some extra points. Pause this if you want to read it, or just keep watching. Anyway, I hope you guys enjoyed. This video is kind of just practice. I did want to make this video, so that was cool. And I think it came out way better than I expected it to. I know this is kind of a content medium shift on what you're used to on this channel, but I think this content is a lot better than what I was making. and it's what I'm passionate about, and I think that you should make what you are passionate about because maybe other people will be passionate about it as well and consume your media. Like I make media that I would consume if somebody else made it. I make the stuff I want to see. I watch videos like this at work, so this is my spin on it, and I basically make videos like this because I imagine it'll be really cool when I watch it on my phone. But I do think it's a waste of time to talk about other people's media, even though I'm passionate about it. This is one of the 3 videos I have planned. The other 2 are about Dr. Doom and Kratos. I work on YouTube on my days off, but I'm spending a lot of my time doing real life stuff. Like I'm working on a book, and I want to make a movie in the future. A lot of people who make videos like this are very pessimistic. I am not. I try to be optimistic. People are destroying your favorite franchises. It is what it is. The best you can do is make your own media and don't let anybody stop you. Have a great day. Have a Jesus blessed day, and I will see you in the next one.